What is up, studs, and welcome to Ask MandR, episode 353. On this episode, we're going to talk about more Clone Turbo Tank rumor changes, the potential next addition to the buildable character lineup in 2026, the Krusty Burger, and much more. If you have a question or topic for next week's episode, drop in the comment section below, hit the like button while you're there, and let's get into it. Very direct, from Unset Team, he says, "Yo, bro, they made a Krusty Burger, put it in your next vid." He didn't even write it as a question, just straight and to the point. And this is the $210, 1,635-piece Krusty Burger. I gotta tell you, I might buy it. I didn't buy any of the prior Simpsons sets. I did buy some of the minifigs, but I was never a big Simpsons guy. I was more American Dad and Family Guy, so it's kind of unfortunate that Simpsons of all those shows was the one that got made, I guess. But this looks really fun and creative. There's some aspects of it that I really like. I'll start with the fries that Bart is holding. I hope I got that. It's Bart, not Bert. We're gonna go with it. It's like a bucket piece with a Wolverine claw. I really want to pull out my Josh Block impression right now. Put the fries in the bag. I don't know if it's, I think it's good. I think I'm pretty good. For those wondering, I can also name Homer, Lisa, and Krusty the Clown. The other three minifigs I don't know the names of, but these look great. I mean, that's one of the strengths of LEGO Simpsons is that they make all of their heads unique, and they get their mold, and they get great prints, and they always look amazing. They have since the very beginning. So it's something I really love about LEGO Simpsons. So I got to give it to them there. The minifigs in this one just look excellent. I'm not comparing to the source material. I don't know if they're necessarily accurate to what they're supposed to be, but they look really good just, from an outsider's perspective here. I also love the Krusty Burger sign, very reminiscent, of course, of highway signs with the McDonald's golden arches in America. So I love that. And then the interior on this thing is jam-packed. I think for that alone, I'm going to buy this. Krusty's Kids Zone is absolutely hilarious. I love it. Got a bathroom. You got the drive-through window, the kitchen. I mean, it's got it all. I love this thing. So I think I will be buying this come June 1st. And I don't know if I'll get around to making an actual review of it, but oh boy, this is fun. The car is really cool too. That's wild. So yeah, I gotta say I love the set, and I'm glad you wanted me to put it in this video. Next from Joseph, he says, "When is 48th rarest LEGO Star Wars items short coming out?" Probably sometime before the 47th. Hopefully you like that joke. Seriously though, it has been a few months, and about a week and a half ago, I hired a new editor and he started working for me. So yeah, stuff like that should no longer have scenarios where I start a thing and then it stops for 3 months and it starts again, because basically the reason I would hire an editor is it's his job to make sure stuff like that gets done and happens, right? So all I really have to do to make this happen is, write the script out and read it into the microphone, and then he can go in and hopefully film all the B-roll, edit together, and make a nice YouTube short for you guys. And so, yeah, kind of related though, with shorts, I'm kind of back on TikTok. Nobody told me that TikTok paid well. Okay, you guys might have seen the video where I got that 2005 ARC 170 store display. On TikTok, the video in one day made like $270 versus YouTube, it made like under 100, and it got more views on YouTube. Views are counted differently across both platforms, but it basically made half the RPM, if you know what I'm talking about. So I'm gonna be posting more on TikTok. I'm just saying, and I'm not gonna front on why. And that was insane. I can't believe it made that much money. So we're just gonna post more there now. The other reason I bring that up is there are a bunch of TikTok accounts that kind of impersonate me. I have mine that is actually me. It's at MandRproductions. The other ones are not me. I don't mind them doing what they're doing, where they're like taking my videos and reposting them. I kind of see it as like free advertising. It's kind of the Mr. Beast philosophy on it.
Yeah. Someone took a 2-minute segment of the video and put it on TikTok, and it had 40 million views. Oh, so many of the comments are like, "Where do I find this? What is this?" And people are just like, "It's Mr. Beast." And then they'll respond like 2 hours later and they'll be like, "Wow, I just watched 10 of his videos. Where has this been?" Short form's like great.
The only issue I have with it is when they look like they are me and they are like impersonating me. If you want to be MandR Productions fan page, I don't care. But that's kind of an issue. I don't want to go out of my way to try to get these accounts taken down, but you can't just impersonate me. That's not good. Anyway, Brad says, based on the current trends of buildable battle droids, B1 and Droideka, is it likely we'll see a B2 Commando Tactical, etc.? I think there's only one that is going to be happening here, and that's going to be the B2 Super Battle Droid. I feel like that is basically a lock for 2026 or maybe 2027, but I think it'll come out next year. It's clear that they're going to do the year after year thing, I think, with these. And the others, I just think are too niche to happen. Never say never, I guess. I do think it's also notable that in 2018, they were going to release that B2 Super Battle Droid buildable character or buildable figure, and so it's very likely that we'll see that carry into 2026 with another actual brick built character. Now, I do wish they would do one more thing in regards to these droid characters, and very specifically with the B1 battle droid. I literally thought of it on the fly here. They should release a color pack for the B1 battle droid that allows you to make it into a pilot, a commander, or a security droid. So you get dark red colors, blue colors, or yellow colors, just depending on which one you want to switch it into. The caveat is you'd have to buy a bunch of the battle droids with staps, and the staps end up being kind of extra money that you're wasting to get the battle droids in multiple colors. But I think they should release a triple color pack and let people buy it. Obviously, people can buy the parts on Bricklink and stuff and modify it, but it's always much easier when LEGO does it officially, right? So I kind of hope they do that. I think that would be cool. Next, from Grind Frosty, he says, have you played or plan to play or make videos on the new Fortnite Star Wars season or LEGO Fortnite Star Wars update? So short answer, no. I'm just not that into Fortnite. However, I did see, I do keep my finger on the pulse a little bit, and the Grievous, no one ever asked me about this, I don't think. The Grievous in the new Fortnite update is insane. Like, it's a minifigure version of General Grievous, and I'm waiting for some customs maker out there to actually make the mold for the head. I imagine it would be very expensive and difficult to do, but you know, people make custom molds all the time that are insane. So I think that this could be something that we see a customs maker make. Will it cost $100 or $150? Sure, but like, it's honestly one I would probably buy. The other thing I kind of saw people talking about was that Darth Jar Jar made his way into Fortnite, and it's pretty wild because Darth Jar Jar is like a LEGO original design, and then that was transferred into Fortnite as the actual character. So that's kind of cool, and it kind of gives me hope that Jedi Bob would make his way into Fortnite. If Jedi Bob gets into Fortnite, I'll play Fortnite. How's that? Does that sound good? I'll do a whole live stream of it. It'll be a whole thing. I highly doubt they would bring Jedi Bob to Fortnite, but if he does, I'll actually play. I do also have a Fortnite creator code. It's MandR, MandR. So if you want to support me when you buy your Fortnite skins, use that, even though I don't really play that much, if at all. Next up from Byron, he says, with the introduction of the book nooks for Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings, do you think that it would be reasonable to say Star Wars could get one? And he kind of dives into this a little bit, but I've got a couple reasons that I don't think this will happen. First, I want to say the Harry Potter one is, I love. I think it's really cool. I'm not going to buy either the Harry Potter one or Lord of the Rings one, very likely, but these do look really cool. I think it's a different subset of fan that would be interested mostly in a set like this. I don't think LEGO made this for the hardcore LEGO fan, if that makes sense. This is very much for like the TikTok book crowd in a way, but like, I don't know, these are really mainstream books. I don't know, that's what it feels like to me. Okay, anyways, the first issue here is that Star Wars isn't a book series first and foremost. Star Wars, of course, has plenty of books, plenty of very popular books that I've listened to 7 chapters of, in fact. But for Star Wars, books came after the movies. I believe with Lord of the Rings and Harry Potter, obviously the books came before the movies, and so I think the dynamic of those fandoms is a bit different because of that, and I think obviously that's why those make sense for those particular themes. I just don't see it for Star Wars. I don't see it being popular for Star Wars. I don't want it. I'm going to be honest. I don't want it. I don't want to have to make a review of it. I don't want to have to buy a bunch of Star Wars books to put in between them to make the review make sense. I mean, at the end of the day, I'm sure they could do a really cool one. I just don't see it as a fit. And this is another thing. This is my second reasoning here. Some of these other themes do kind of randomly, and it never really comes back, or it doesn't stay too much. It kind of sporadically pops in and out. And some good examples would be like the minifigure. We got the Harry Potter and Hermione, and we've seen like a slight spattering of some other ones since then with those like big buildable minifigs, but we never got Star Wars ones, right? And it's been 5 years, almost 4 years, and it's pretty clear that they're not going to do big buildable Star Wars minifigs. Could that, of course, change at any time? They could theoretically do it, I guess, but it's pretty clear that it wasn't in the plans. It's $100? Okay, I kind of take, wow, $100 for the book nook for Harry Potter is insane. Nah, that is not worth $100. There's no way. It looks really cool. I love it, but like $100 is wild. I feel like I'm blanking on some other examples, but my point is simply that like sometimes other themes do random things like this, and it doesn't apply to other themes. Next up from Sotoro, he says, have you seen the drawings of the turbo tank? Commander Bacarra has a physical wastecape. Do you think this is how it's going to be in the official set? And so yeah, there are more rumors and leaks about this turbo tank than I can even keep track of at this point. I need to start writing them down. But the drawing of the turbo tank has come forth, or what people are claiming to be a drawing of the turbo tank. Honestly, whether it is or it isn't, I mean, it's going to look like a turbo tank. So like, it's just not that exciting to me to get like someone's sketch of it. If the picture leaked, I'd love to go in depth about that. If I had seen it and knew that that was the turbo tank that is actually coming out, I'd love to dive into it. But like, yeah, there's just not a ton to go off here. It's a drawing of a LEGO turbo tank. It looks cool. I hope that this is how the set looks. But ultimately still at the end of the day, it's going to be very small and it's going to be too expensive. And it's going to be plagued with those issues. And then the minifigs aren't matching the model, you know, that's a problem. It's like wearing two shoes that don't match. Like, what are we doing? The more interesting one that I've seen a lot of people running with is the Commander Bacarra drawing. And yeah, it looks like what a Lego Commander Bacarra would look like for the most part, but the person that drew it, I believe, claimed to have seen it on some Discord server. Like, I don't know for sure that it's not real, I suppose, but I find it odd that people like just believe some random guy that just says he saw it on Discord. You know, and like there's things that don't add up, because as far as I'm aware, there's no physical wastegapes coming back. It ain't happening as far as I'm aware. And I hope I'm completely wrong about that, but I don't have any reason to believe physical wastegapes are coming back. Even though Lisa, by the way, in the Simpsons set had a physical waste cape, but we can't get him for Star Wars Clone Troopers, even though clearly the fans want it. Like, LEGO Star Wars is digging their grave, and I don't get why. Like, why are we doing this? Like, just give them physical waste capes. It's been very clear that fans want that. But Lisa from Simpsons can have it. The other thing that this guy said that to me screams absolute fake phony is that he claims this Commander Bacarra helmet is going to have helmet holes. Guys, like, common sense here. Helmet holes were created for Commander Cody to have a visor on and Commander Bacarra, they're not going to have helmet holes. It's just not how it works. So yeah, I expect the helmet to look much nicer than this person is saying, because I just don't frankly believe them. And I don't think there's a reason we should believe them, you know, like other than they said they saw it, you know, I don't know. It's just some random dude, no credibility, no face to it, you know? So I wouldn't believe it. I don't believe it. But what I do believe is the next one, because it comes from a much more reliable source as far as I'm aware. Mr. Hall says, have you heard the new rumors about a new pauldron piece coming in the summer, and what do you think about it? Love the videos. Thank you very much. So the rumor is that plastic pauldrons are coming back, and I like it. Like, I can like a rumor. Who knows how the execution will be? Every rumor sounds good on paper until you see what LEGO actually did with it. I think it has a lot of potential, though. So we first got plastic pauldrons back in 2008. Pretty rudimentary on their design, especially by today's standards. But I think there's a lot of potential here. Like, if they are really updated, you know, much better looking mold, and very importantly, printed. If they can print these, you know, much, because you have this issue where you've got these printed pauldrons for a long time on the cloth. So you can't go backwards as far as that design and accuracy goes. Like, they had issues though. Like, the printed pauldron on Captain Rex is way, way, way too big. So doing these as plastic allows them to get much smaller. Again, it just comes down to whether or not you can actually print them, or at least represent the color in some proper way, whether that's through a dual mold or whatever it is. And then you need to pair that with a new waist cape piece, and you're good. Right? And a new helmet. We got other issues here. But with the antenna piece and perhaps the pauldron, like, things are like, we're kind of turning a corner. It's a slow process, but we're turning a corner, and I like to see it. Again, it very much comes down to, is the piece good? And that can make or break years of minifigs. And that's what we've seen with that Phase 2 helmet. It can be very, very decisive and very make or break for a long time here. So if it's good, it's great. If it's bad, it's horrible. You know, it's very one or the other to me. But the antenna piece definitely gives me hope that this piece would be good. To me, it's just very important that that same level of detail that they were able, or at least some, you know, decent level of detail that they were able to capture with those printed cloth pauldrons, they would be able to capture with this. So that's going to be the big question to me, is will they be just blank gray pauldrons? Like, I don't think that's going to fly, because, you know, the amount of detail they were able to put on the cloth ones was great. And the other thing is, like, this will also avoid issues like the Fives one. Everyone knows the Fives pauldron was horrible. It literally sits on them like a pancake, you know, but the print detail on it's great. So can you do something like that with a mold? You know, man, like, we'd be in a good position if that's the case. Time will tell on that for sure, but I think that of the three rumors, and that turbo tank drawing could be real. If I was going to stack rank them, pauldrons, I'm pretty dang sure that's real. Turbo tank drawing, probably maybe real, but like could be fake. And then the Bacarra drawing, yeah, like, is Bacarra going to look vaguely like that? Sure, but is that a real, accurate, 100%, this person actually saw what they said they saw drawing? I don't think so. Stolen says, why do they still make Clone Wars sets, but not sets for their other animated shows, Rebels, Bad Batch, etc.? So Rebels kind of got sucked in with the Ahsoka show. So, you know, that's the way I look at that. because otherwise we would have gotten a new Ghost by now, but they released an Ahsoka show Ghost. And so we also saw sets like the T6. We saw Thrawn brought back through the Duel on Peridia set. And so a lot of sets that would have maybe been made with Rebels in mind got made with Ahsoka in mind. Kind of feel the same way about Bad Batch with the Clone Wars, like a turbo tank. Like, they could have made a Bad Batch turbo tank, but now they're making a movie turbo tank. I guess that's not Clone Wars, but you get the point. Bad Batch I don't think was all that popular either. And, simply it probably just comes down to Clone Wars stuff is selling better for whatever reason, and all the other shows just don't sell as well. The other benefit of Clone Wars, of course, is the repurchasability. Okay, you can buy more than one Star Destroyer, but let's be honest, like, if you were going to buy two of something, would you buy two Star Destroyers or two Coruscant Guard gunships? I think, on average, most people would buy two Coruscant Guard gunships. And I'll see people that will comment, well, I would buy two Star Destroyers. And honestly, I would too, because I think the Star Destroyer is a better set than the Coruscant Guard gunship. But as far as, army building goes, and that's what happens with Clone Wars sets, on the margins, I would bet that people just tend to lean towards buying multiples of those sorts of things. Like the ATT is probably another good example. I like the ATTE build a lot, and I've bought maybe 4 or 5 of them for myself. I got rid of the figures, they're buns, but, I bought the actual build. I love it. And if you look on the other side of things, like with the Ghost and Phantom 2 or the Star Destroyer, like I'm just not buying 4 or 5 of those to have the build for myself. So very different scenario there. Jacob says, mixing up the minifigures halfway through their shelf life seems like an absolute nightmare to me. I don't know what makes it so nightmarish to you, because, they've done it before. There's a good couple examples that I've got for you here. The Turbo Tank, of course, 2005, 2006, when they got rid of the light up Mace Windu, they changed the minifigs out. They added in another clone trooper. So, that's definitely a good example. Also, one of the Harry Potter boat sets, the Drumstrang from back in the day, they had like a second variant that added 4 more minifigs. That's kind of crazy too. They would never do that today. They would never just give you more for your money like that. Isn't that wild? You guys, if you didn't know that existed, that's wild, right? So it can be done. It has been done. I don't think they will do it, but yeah, it's just one of the great ideas I've got for LEGO Star Wars. Nerd says, why do you think LEGO models have been downsized so much? Like, do you think the designers want to design these sets so small, or do you think the executives are forcing them to get smaller? I'm pretty sure it's a top-down decision. Like, whoever's at the top is deciding, hey, we need to hit these price points. And I actually thought of a really good way to kind of show why sets are getting so small relative to what they used to be, and it's certainly a price point thing. So I'm going to bring up the 2008 Clone Wars wave. That's just going to be a random example. So our cheapest set in that release wave would be the Separatist Spider Droid, which was $30. That would be now $45, and honestly probably $50 with the way that LEGO prices things now. The Magna Guard Starfighter was originally $45, so that set would now be nearly $70 today. The Republic Fighter Tank was $50, and so would LEGO want to sell a $75 or $80 Republic Fighter Tank today, or would a $40 one sell better like we saw back in 2022? The V19 Torrent, originally $55. We're going to need to know this for an upcoming review, of course. Now would be $82, so they'd probably price that at $85 or $90. A $90 V19 Torrent would be insane, and they're releasing one now for $55 this summer, barring a price increase. The ATT, I think we'll actually see will be like fairly similar, coming in at $90 back in the day, would be $135 today, so not too bad. And then we'll skip the Twilight and go to the Republic Gunship at $120. That today would be $180. So yeah, like you can see I think they're just trying to hit price points that sound more reasonable to people, even if it comes at the cost of having smaller sets. Because if the cheapest set in your like available wave starts at $50, you've got a problem. So inherently, all the prices of everything need to be brought down, and the cost of doing that is bringing down the size to match that, because they're trying to, keep prices down. I know they, raise prices a lot, but I think through downsizing, they're trying to keep prices relatively down. So even if I didn't explain it in the best way possible, I hope you do get my point. Timmy Studio says, what is your favorite car? Currently, I really like the C8 Corvette. I like it so much that I went out and bought the Lego set, the yellow one, and then they're coming out with a blue one. So I'm going to buy the blue one too, and I'll probably do a review of them both at once. But that's like my dream car for sure. C8 Corvette. I've talked about it before. I wanted a blue one. And so it's pretty dope that Lego is coming out with that rapid blue color, even though they are discontinuing the rapid blue color from the C8 Corvette starting in 2026. So that's pretty wild. But imagine like I start reviewing a rapid blue Corvette and then I magically just have one. That'd be crazy. But C8 Corvette definitely is probably my favorite car right now. Next up from Crazy says, where did you get those Minecraft looking Star Wars figs, and can you still get the May 4th promo after May 4th? Yeah, the May 4th promo period is long over. they said what, May 1st to May 5th, and then it's over. I actually wonder, like, let's say they have like 2,000 left over, what happens to them, where they go? Because like sometimes they'll do like a second promo thing later, especially with minifigs they'll hand out later. They have, and the Darth Revan is my best example. That was the 2014 May 4th promo, and then like a few years later, they just randomly started giving them out at LEGO stores with purchases of $75 again. But those are poly bags. They take up a lot less space than the boxes of the Camino training facility. So I do wonder like what happens, or if they actually sold them all. Who knows? But anyway, those crafter figures are my new customs from MandRshop.com. Unfortunately, they are completely sold out right now. We had Craft and Rex, Boba Craft, and Darth Crafter. And yeah, I love them. They're amazing. And we're going to do a lot more. We actually got a custom mold made for the head of them, because the issue that I ran into, especially with white, is just the quantity of white available is like next to none, especially for what we want to do. And so like if I'm going to do more clone troopers in the future, like it's impossible. You know, you can do maybe 50. And then you're out of parts on the open market. It's over. And so we got a mold made. Brook Tactical was able to help us with that. It was expensive, but he helped us. The final test molds are on their way to me now. And it basically is a replica piece of the actual headpiece. And it will allow us to do all of the colors that we need. It basically solves any of our issues on sourcing parts. And, you know, the mold was very expensive up front, but the price per part after that isn't that bad. So it also, in some ways, depending on the figure, of course, and the color piece, you know, could maybe be cheaper for the official part. I don't know. I didn't really look. But at the very least, it kind of locks in what our cost on each of these is going to be, and it makes it very easy for us to do something that's mass-produced and easily accessible. Our hope is to wholesale. I guess these aren't them. They're up here. Part of our plan with these two is to wholesale them. So if you actually own a third-party store, hit me up, Ryan at MandRshop.com, and I'll get you set up with that. But yeah, we wanted to like get them into other like stores. We thought they could be super popular with like just random people walking by too. So yeah, if you're interested in that, hit me up. Radiation 6 says, how much prepping do you do for each question before you record, or do you just turn on the camera and talk? So it depends on the question. Every once in a while I get a question that I got to do like a good bit of research on and prep for, but you'd be surprised. A lot of my Q&As are very off the cuff, because frankly, for the most part, it's about topics that I'm very knowledgeable about, that I've already basically done all of the research on. And so I don't really need to go and do a bunch of research or scripting or anything. Like basically the bullet points for my talking points in this video are the questions. Like that's what makes it so great to me. So it's a lot less prep than you would probably think. You know, maybe it takes me an hour I read all the questions every time, you know, pick all the best ones and then put them in the order that I want for the video. But yeah, maybe it takes me an hour, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on how many comments the video got. And then maybe another hour to record, and the editing is what really takes the longest. But yeah, no, it's kind of my favorite part about the series. I just get to turn the camera on and talk about stuff that I like to talk about, and it's a fun time. Also, sad times for Jason Tatum, man. I'm so sad. I feel really bad for him. I thought I had screenshotted someone's question asking me what I thought about his injury. Obviously, I'm devastated, and it sucks. Someone said to me, this is what my custom Jason Tatum minifig that I own. Someone said that I should give him a heel crack, and it was very funny, but also like, man, come on. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the like button if you did. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, and leave your questions or comments for next week's episode down in the comments section below. See you later.